The story behind this video starts with this boombox. It's a JVC PC70, and apart from being extremely portable, it does everything you need. It has AM/FM radio and can play cassettes. But what if you wanted to listen to a record? Well, you could through the phono preamp located on the back. Just plug in the stereo in the ground and you're good to go. But you still have to supply your own record player. So what do you get? An Audio-Technica Soundburger or some other option on the market such as this? Well, I took a little bit of a different approach, and this is what I ended up getting.
So in my search to find a portable record player, I came across this. This is a Panasonic SG-J500 Boombox. And not only does it have a cassette player and a radio player, but on the bottom, it has a full turntable which you can play your records on. So before I get into trying to repair this unit, I'm going to try and test out the functions on it and see what's working. So obviously the record player is the most interesting, so let's maybe start with that. Phono on. This is a 45 record, which it's set to. It's probably going to sound terrible. Not bad. Let's try 33. I don't know if you can see, but this is pretty dirty. So the guy that sent this to me didn't store this properly, but that's okay. We're going to clean it up. That sounds pretty good too. And just to see if it's working, I'm going to try the radio. FM
Dollars in court. Morgan & Morgan. Visit morganpeople.com for an office near you.
And we're back talking all things connected.
That sounds pretty good. Let's maybe take this out. We can push this in. It's actually a really nice function. This glass door, well, it's plastic, but it comes down. Thankfully, I got one that's in good condition. Had I not found one in good condition, this would have been completely worthless. Regardless, let's try the tape deck now. I think you go to that, which is the same as the power off button, which is peculiar because you control it from up here. Tape goes in upside down, and you hit play, and that doesn't seem to be working. At least rewind. Rewind works. Fast forward is not. Oh, there we go. So, kind of working, doesn't sound the best. I'm going to try and go in here and change the belt out. I could not find any dimensions on the belt, but from what I can tell from the manual, there's only one belt, so maybe I could find one from, my bin, and that would make this a completely new unit. So I am going to go in and try and change the stylus and the turntable belt, give this a total rundown, and I think this could, be a good little unit. It's not the most portable thing, it's kind of huge. So I don't know how you would take this anywhere. It runs on like 10D batteries, which is atrocious. So if I can get this thing working into a point where it's a good little boombox that I can plug in somewhere, then that would be great. It looks like it's going to be fine, but I guess we'll find out. Just to showcase probably the most interesting feature on this boombox, I'll show you the record player tray again, and then we can compare that later on after we fix the device to see how much smoother we can make it, because it is a little rough. Just to give you a little more detail on the turntable of this device, it's got this nice little platter that's shock absorbed, so hopefully it doesn't pick up too many vibrations. It's got a button right here for the speed selection, 45 and 33, and then it's got a kind of crummy tone arm. I don't know if I'll be able to set the weight on this, but that's what we're going to find out. Hopefully it doesn't destroy your records when you use it. Here's the bottom of the machine. As you can see, here's the belt that we're trying to get to. It's completely blocked in there. You can also see here's the speed adjustment for the turntable. After we get this fixed, then we'll play with that, but in the meantime I want to get in there. Probably do the tape deck first and then the turntable, but I'm going to reference the manual and I'm going to see how to get into this thing. Yeah, so when I get it out of the way I can close it, but you can kind of see here how this glass piece doesn't totally close. And if I can get that to be completely flush, that would be ideal. I mean, we gotta figure out what that piece is though. It sounds like that when I have the door open and I lean the whole thing back, there's like a loose component in there. That, I wanna find out what that is. And hopefully hopefully we can fix that, because then when that falls back, then I can't close the door. So we need to figure out what that is. And maybe that'll tell us. I don't know. See, I can't close it now. So it's saying to take this bar off, and then this entire front panel is going to lift off. Nothing to it but to do it, I suppose. So I'm going to take these out. Then on the back here, there should be 7 screws with these little arrows next to them. I'm going to take those out as well. Oh. My screwdriver almost doesn't fit. They like Loctited these screws in here. They don't want you to get in. Oh my god. They don't want you getting in here. You're supposed to be able to repair things from this era. And they even give you the manual, so I don't know why they would Loctite these in unless they weren't too confident of it staying together. I need like a drill. There we go. That's one. At least it's a nice long screw. Alright, I needed a bigger screwdriver, but I think I got them out. That was way more effort than... Oh, glad I got that on film. Okay, so the front just comes off like that. As you can see. What is this? Oh, I didn't know it came with one of these. This is a 45 record adapter. So you can put that onto your platter. I didn't know it came with that. That's a bonus. I guess that was what was shaking around and why it couldn't close. That explains that. Alright, so let's look at the inside. That was not a good sound. But it looks like it just kind of slides off here. Oh yeah, that is nice. So now it's probably a wire is keeping it in. Yeah, it looks like there's a piece of duct tape. Yeah, it looks like if I just pull this white thing up, this whole wire just comes out. And now it's freed from that. Let me show you what I can see. So there's that piece of duct tape holding these power leads on. But here's the interior. I know it's a little hard to see. But we're trying to get to this belt that's run off of this motor. So we probably have to take this whole cassette assembly out. And then we can get to that belt. Thankfully, it looks like according to the manual, there's only one belt. I mean, there's no tape counter or anything like that, so there's not a lot of features, but that saves us in simplicity. And now that I'm looking at it, yeah, I don't know, it might just be one belt. I mean, it's still intact, but I want to change it out just so we can say we did make this a completely new machine again. Glad we found that piece that was rattling around, and it's good to have that adapter. This is the FM tuner knob. As you can see, I'm controlling it here. And that's just a tension wire. That's fine. We don't need to screw with that. So, actually, not too bad of a job. I've had harder times getting into boomboxes despite my issues getting the screws out. You're probably going to have a hard time. It's just Loctited. But putting it back together should not be as difficult. Okay, so I might have been a little wrong about those power leads. I think they actually go to the turntable, but what we want to try and do is get this sliding deck, which is connected to this back base here, out from the front face with this little window on the front of it. So I need to pull this out and drop it down so that it comes off of its little glides that it goes on. I think I just want to, yep, tilt it forward, lift it up, and this whole thing should come out. Feels like it wants to come out. Yep, here we go, here we go. There we go. Okay. Okay, so there are some leads. This power lead is holding it in, and these might hold it in, but I could maybe leave those in, so I'm just going to try and pull this off. Oh boy, didn't like that. Now, I'm less thrilled about pulling this out because this looks like it'll be a pain to get back in, but that's what it says to do. It says to lift this up, and then this whole thing just comes out. Oh, I don't want to do this. Oh, this looks complicated and expensive. Oh, it's one of those things where it just doesn't want to come out. Yeah, be careful with these. So they will come out and they're tough, but you got to make sure you don't pull this thing off of the board itself, because there's no way you would ever get that back on. But at least that's out, and I can now pull this thing off. There we go. This is filthy. This thing is filthy, but at least it's out now, and I have access to the tape deck. Look at this. So I would suggest cleaning out this entire thing. There hasn't been anyone in here for decades. So this whole wire was being held in place by this foam that's just disintegrating. So I'm gonna take that out because that's just gonna cause a mess. And then I'll replace it with some like electrical tape or something like that. So you can see all this crap that I left all over it. So it's good that I took that out. That was only gonna cause more issues. Yeah. Oh, this is terrible. I was gonna try and see if I could leave these in, but it seems like it's gonna make my life a hell of a lot easier if I just take them out. So I'm gonna try and take this lead out. Yep. And I'm gonna mark this one with tape so I remember which one it goes in. That was the top one. Tape for top. Oh, and then I'm going to take this one out. These are the same things where you have to lift up the white one and then the wire just comes out. Okay. So now this whole front face can come off and I have access to this. And I think I can get in here and clean up this platter. And that's what's going to make it glide a lot smoother for us if we really clean this out. Now, I wish I had a little bit of grease, but this 3-in-1 oil is just going to have to do. I'm just going to put a little bit on this gear right here, not a lot. And I'm going to run it a couple times. I spread the grease that was on it. It's still somewhat good on this little track right here, and that's where the actual door slides from. But now it's nice and clean. So I'm now going to try and take this out because I think this whole thing is not, it's clearly not attached. But how is it not attached? Okay. What's underneath this? Okay. So it sits on this little carriage. I can't take it out too far to show you, unfortunately. But it sits on this little carriage, and this spring is dampened and it comes out slowly and it forces the whole tray out. So I think if we clean all this, you know, dirt and crap out and put a little lubricant on it, it'll slide like a dream. So while I'm at this point, it might be a good idea to change out this turntable belt. And I don't know if you can see this, but we have another Loctited bolt. So I gotta get this whole little plate off. It's just 4 screws and then this one bolt holding the turntable on. Hopefully that's not too bad to get out, but let's try and get that off. Actually, I could probably leave the bolt in and the whole turntable. If this platter can rise up out of here, then I probably don't have to take that bolt out. Let's see. It's pretty nice that this platter has these little rubber gaskets on here, so it probably isolates the table from some noise that's going on. When I was using it earlier, I saw that it's actually got pretty decent noise isolation for this, you know, portable turntable. And that's doing exactly what I wanted it to do. Okay, so that's gonna come off, and then I can get this rubber band off of here. Oh, that's beautiful, actually. And then I'm also going to clean this up because this looks like crap. While I was cleaning this, I found that this little bracket actually slides right out of the turntable. But be really careful taking this out because there is a ball bearing that I keep losing every time I do this. See, it wants to just come right out, so I'm just going to leave that there. And then we're going to try and take our new belt, wrap it around here, get it around the motor, and then pop this back on and see if we can, you know, get this back together. So before I put this drawer back in, I just wanted to show you back here. There's a little spring, and that's what acts as the counterweight for the stylus, for the tone arm. Now there's no way for me to really adjust this, so unfortunately whatever the weight of this tone arm is just the weight of this tone arm. And it seems a little finicky, but you know, I guess it works, so you can't really complain too much. But it's unfortunate I can't adjust the weight of the tone arm. Okay, so this is the challenge. So you have to get the belt on and then keep everything together and taut with one hand while you slot it onto the motor. Okay, so the belt is on my table. I'm just gonna hold this tight. Make sure there's no twists in it. And then get this under here. Around that. Make sure not to drop the platter off of the bracket because the ball bearing will fall out and you'll be screwed. Okay, that might actually work. Get this around the motor. Oh, that might actually work. There we go. And then put these little rubber back gaskets back on. Okay. Nice. Alright, now we just have to get these screws back in and we're actually looking pretty good. Give that a couple spins just to make sure that's running well. Alright, and then I'll tighten these screws up. Let's go a little bit at a time. You don't want them too tight. It's got to dampen it. It's yeah, here we go. All right. Okay, so I'm gonna try and slot this back in. Remember, it's got to catch this arm with the spring on it. Otherwise it won't go in right. There we go. There we go. Okay, so now I'm looking at the tape mechanism here, and I'm hoping that all I have to do is maybe take these two screws off to get access to behind the motor. And to do that, I might have to take this record bracket arm off, which is just one screw. Probably spring-loaded. I don't know, it might not be. But hopefully it's just those 3 screws. And then I can get access to the belt that's in there. Let's start by taking this off. Okay. Please nothing explode. Yeah, okay, that's just greased. I'm not going to clean that because I want the grease to stay there. Now hopefully I can just kind of work on these. So the belt wraps around the flywheel here. It's an integrated flywheel around the motor, and then another wheel over here. So I'm hoping I can just take these 2 screws out, and that'll give me access. Let's see. Okay. Now it looks like there's more. Okay, I gotta find out what else this is attached to. Okay, if I wanted to get the motor out, I'd probably have to take the entire mechanism out, which I don't want to do. So I want to see if I can get this back plate off. And then maybe I could just wrap the band around it without having to dismantle everything. Ooh, this is a long one. I have a feeling this whole thing's just gonna explode. Like it's spring-loaded. And the second I take a screw out, everything's gonna go flying. So I played with it, and it looks like I can actually just lift this up. It comes right out. So if you can get it out, then you can get it in. You can get a new one in without having to take the whole mechanism apart. Is it going to be a pain? Probably. So I'm going to get some cotton swabs and try and clean as much of this as I can, just in case there's a little belt gunk from, you know, the 80s still on here. And then I'm going to try and get the new belt on. Okay, so just a little isopropyl alcohol on a Q-tip. And I'm going to run through these wheels and try and pick up all the belt gunk that may have melted. It's actually quite clean. Alright, so let's see how difficult this is going to be. So I need to get it under here. I'm going to start by getting it under the flywheel. Okay. And then I need to wrap it around this other wheel. Okay, now the motor is going to be the most difficult part, for sure. That's close. No way. Oh my god, I just got it on. Well, there's the new belt on. You can see it spins the motor and it's nice and taut. I'm actually surprised I got that on that quickly. So I'm just going to turn on the tape player and then see if it spins. And it looks like we're looking good. Alright. So now I can seal this back up. Start with this ribbon cable, put that back in. And before I close everything up, I'm just going to plug these power leads back in, and then I'm going to try the the cassette player, just to make sure it's all running before we seal everything back up. So those leads go in here. One more right here. All right, screws back in. Make sure this one's nice and tight, same with the one that we took out of the motor. Make sure everything still spins. Don't strip anything. Whoa. Alright, and then get this bracket back in. Kind of forget how it went on here. Put it like this. Yeah, I think it went like that. Yeah, okay, that goes there, and that's from the record button. So that activates the button on the PCB board. And again, I want to make sure this is tight, but not so tight that it won't move. That seems good. Alright, so I'm just going to clean everything up and then I'm going to start putting this back together. So I found that the fast forward wasn't working because this idler wheel wasn't being pulled into place by the old belt because it was just too old and too loose. So now that I have the new belt on, when I hit the fast forward, it actually pulls it into place. So when you put a new belt on, make sure to use one that's small enough that it actually has enough tension to pull that idler into place. Alright, so I gotta slide this door on so that this actually comes through here. Pop this clamshell on here, which it does not want to do. Oh, alright, I think we got that. Now we just got to put our screws back in the back. Probably going to be just as difficult to get back in than it was to get them out, unfortunately. And then finally, we just got to return the bottom plate. There we go. Okay, I'm going to swap out the stylus on the turntable using a little screwdriver. Just going to push this out. That comes off. Just like that. Then I can swap in Alright, now we can see how much force this tone arm is putting on the record. It's over 5 grams, so okay, that's very heavy. So the force on this tone arm is so heavy it maxes out my scale here. So here's a 5 gram weight. I'm going to add that to my scale and then tare it. So I'll be reading from -5, so I'll be able to tell how heavy this is exactly by adding 5 to whatever this number that comes up. So it's about 7 grams, so quite heavy, probably not something you want to be using on your records, quite honestly, especially not your nice ones. Yeah, I probably wouldn't use this unless I was playing 45s, which it's fine for. Probably not 33s in anything that I actually have that's nice. Alright, so might break your records, but at least we can see if it's playing them well. I got my speed app on my phone on 33. Plays about 33, but we got our little adjustments here on the bottom, so let's see what 45's at. Also pretty close, and I can see it's pretty fluttery, but let's see if we can make that a little better. After calibrating the turntable, I got the speed well within the acceptable range. The motor is a little fluttery, as you can see by the graph shown, but probably not something that you're going to notice. So it'll probably destroy your records, but at least they might sound nice doing it. So let's see how a 45 sounds. At least it's a decent quality sound. The speed is obviously pretty good, a little fluttery, but the speakers might be a little thin, maybe a little tinny, but I think they sound good for something you might use outdoors. You know, for like a party boombox, you might get a lot of use out of this. Now I want to try 33. How about a couple seconds of the worst album I've ever heard, Joe Jackson's Night and Day. Case in point. So, again, pretty good. Probably going to ruin your record, so you wouldn't want to be playing Dark Side on this, but this album works perfectly. This boombox has probably one of the longest antennas I've seen on a boombox, so the reception should be pretty good, especially where I live. It has an AM and an FM band. It does not have a shortwave, which is unfortunate because that's fun to flip through, but
while it's burning. We are gonna start our Yankee segment here, but before we do, if you want to call in,
it's got this tone button,
maybe
which is tough
one
to
of us
hear on
listening.
people that I'm using.
Leave me alone. I wanna go home.
Or it'll make it like less bassy or more tonish.
I'm Mackie with the meteorologist Matt Benz on New York's weather station.
Let's try AM.
5 or 6 miles an hour in the 6th inning, and he had a few hard hit balls, which at least there's a method.
So again, I mean, it's solid for regular use. If you have a shop or something, you just want a nice boombox that does everything except play CDs, then this is something that you kind of want. I mean, it does everything you need. So let's try a tape. Now, a tape you play by turning off the machine, and you use these buttons on the top. So it is backwards, like I said earlier. And that's why the play is backwards than when you normally know it of. Because you put the whole tape in backwards like that, instead of right side down, and then it plays like that. So like mentioned earlier, we did get the fast forward working. Also the rewind is working, stop, pause, and it will record, but I'm not going to record on this machine because it's not very good. But so it sounds good. I like it. I mean, it plays tapes well, it plays the radio well. It will play records despite ruining them, but if you just need something that you can plug in that you're going to use here and there, it's a good little boombox. It's technically a classic vintage boombox.
So there you go, a boombox that does a little bit of everything. Probably not going to be for everyone, but some people might really enjoy this boombox. Now, leave it in the comments below. What do you think about this boombox? Is it exactly what you need, or is it a piece of trash? I will say, after I've picked this thing up, the collector's market for this boombox has really taken off, so I won't be letting go of this one anytime soon, even though I probably won't use it for all my records. So, if you liked this video and it really helped you out, please hit that like button, and I hope you subscribe. Thank you. See you in the next one.